Good evening, America. Marcus C. Williams here, and welcome to Marcus Made in America. We've got a great show for you. But first, I want to say this show should quite possibly be rated NR-17 for excessive language and possibly other verbiage and other types of situations that may involve violence and or sexuality or anything else that might hurt your little feelings if you have little small feelings and might consider yourself to be a snowflake. I don't want to offend anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. I love you all equally. However, if you are sensitive, please do not follow our show because you probably won't get any type of nice fuzzy feelings out of it. But I love you anyway. So that being said, wow, America, we have had a very, very interesting week with a lot of stuff going on over the past couple of weeks. So I don't even know where to start. Originally, I actually had some interviews lined up to cast in this show. However, me using new technology, I didn't quite get them to transfer over properly. So I promise you guys, next week, I will have them for you. So let's jump right into it. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen some amazing things happen in our little part of the world. So we've seen the Cuban people move for liberty and freedom in their nation. We've seen the Haitian president get assassinated. We saw the guy who was put in the office step down today. Today, yesterday, what have you. That was very interesting. So a lot of upheaval is going on around our little hemisphere right here. I don't even know what to make of it all. I mean, I support everybody in their freedoms and liberties, and I'm just very happy that we live in America, because living in America gives us the ability to have many more rights, liberties, and freedoms than other countries across the world. If you consider the restrictiveness of many parts of the Middle East, or if you consider the restrictiveness of many parts of, well, all of Russia, and if you consider the restrictiveness of all of China, we've got it pretty daggone good. But right now at home, we have a lot of issues with socialism and communism. It's just all over the place right now. It's very interesting because if America is supposed to stand for liberty and freedom, and we have a republic, at least as long as we can keep it, it's very interesting that people would try to go the way of one party system like socialism or communism. And right now they'll tell you, say, oh, well, you know, I'm a democratic socialist. Okay, well, here's the deal. Socialism it has nothing to do with democracy because it's a one-party system and it's only the people at the top that actually eat. And we look at things like what's going on in Cuba right now. We've got people in Cuba marching in the streets for their freedom now. And I support them. And it's very serious to me that we get the word out that Cuba needs help. Okay. You guys, if you are wherever you are in the country, please reach out to your representatives, reach out to your Congress people, reach out to anybody that's in any political level on the state, national, or even local level, and tell them that we need to support Cuba in their march for freedom. We need to support them as a nation of values and principles that are based in liberty and freedom. You can even see many parts of Cuba over there actually waving the American flag. And it's very, very, very awesome to see that they have so much faith and just love our nation so much and believe in the values of our nation. It's not that they don't love Cuba. They love Cuba. They love Cuba. That's their homeland. But they believe in the values that America represents: liberty, freedom, and stuff like that. So when it comes to different things across the world, especially in Cuba, we have to go back and we have to say, okay, well, what happened in Cuba for it to get to this point? We see people like the socialists that consider themselves social democrats, or excuse me, democratic socialists in in Congress right now, talking about, oh well, they're mad because they're not able to get vaccines. First of all, nobody wants your gosh darn vaccine. I'm sorry. First, let me pause right there and let me go back a step. Okay. Personally, I believe that if you want to take the vaccine, that's fine. You go take the vaccine. If somebody does not want to go take the vaccine, that's fine. I do believe very firmly that if you're going to tell me that your vaccine works, it's very important that you do not enforce that other people have to take it in order to participate in society. That's just wrong. That's very wrong, and it shouldn't happen like that. We've got people that go out and about and they just take a big poop on other people. I'm trying to limit my profanity, you guys, so just bear with me. So they just basically poop on everybody that doesn't want to get the vaccine, or they feel like, okay, well, you should get the vaccine because I got the vaccine. And well, but wait, that's not how vaccines work. If you got the vaccine and somebody else doesn't want it, you shouldn't be forcing it on anybody. Everybody has their liberties and their freedoms, and they should be able to express them however they see fit when it comes to their personal body. I mean, you're injecting them with a vaccine that was made relatively expeditiously, okay, which is a testament to science. However, where is the long-term studies on it? We don't even really know what's in the vaccine. And a lot of people, including the person who generated the synthesis and the processes that go into making mRNA vaccines, believes that you shouldn't be coerced into getting these vaccines, even though him and his family have them. So let me go back to Cuba for a moment. Now, you're saying that all of Cuba's hardships are stemming from them not being able to get vaccinated, and that the food shortages are not because of communism, they're because of the US trade embargo. Okay. So why do we have a trade embargo with Cuba? Well, because Russia put nuclear missiles, ICBMs, on there, on the island, which is what, how far is it from Florida? 60, 90 miles? 60 miles, right?
60 was my instinct.
I think it's 60. So really close. Now, if you're not familiar with ICBMs, they are intercontinental ballistic missiles, which can go very, very far, very, very fast. Okay, so that's why we really started that. Now, when the embargo started, it's an embargo for the United States, not to deal with them at all. But we still kind of do on certain measures and certain things, but that's a conversation for another time. But Cuba does trade with many other nations. So the interesting thing here is that with them trading with many other nations, how can our embargo be so bad? Okay, so the next question is so it's Cuba's its own nation, right? And a nation should be pretty much self-sufficient, shouldn't it? I mean, they are an island. They do have a population. So if people have been living on the island since before industrialization, so are you telling me that they're not able to provide for their people on their island because of an embargo that we just set up? What is it, 60 years ago? Not even, right? Not even. How long ago was the embargo started? I know that number was wrong.
I know about 60.
It's about 60? Oh, okay. 60. Look at me. I'm amazing. So anyway, when it comes to that, you say, oh, well, the embargo. This is what Ocasio-Cortez and the other Democratic socialists are saying. Oh, it's our fault. But they trade with almost everybody else. They trade with Canada. They trade with Germany. They trade with all of these other people and all these other groups across the world. And they just don't trade with us. So what would make trading with America so much of a difference? You know, I really wonder where we go from here if we're supposed to trade with them, but the people that are in power want to destroy our nation and want to see America be brought to its knees. Why would you want to trade with them? Why would you want to trade with them? Why should we trade with them? There is no justification to trade with Cuba, especially if they're not going to give their people the freedom that they deserve and the freedoms that we believe in. To be honest, going on with that, we probably shouldn't be doing any trade with China, and more things should be made in America. But when it comes to stuff like this, we see that Cuba has issues with their healthcare system. So a thing that the Democratic Socialists love to talk about is healthcare, right? So when they talk about healthcare, they're like, oh, Cuba has free healthcare for everybody. But in the Cuban healthcare system, and you just ask anybody from Cuba or that has ties to Cuba, that you can't get any real healthcare. You're lucky if you could find a Band-Aid or find aspirin there. So that's crazy because they trade with all of these other nations. You mean that they don't have aspirin or vitamins or anything like that in other countries that they trade with? Why? How is it so bad on us that we don't trade with them when they're an oppressive regime that actually wants and states that they don't like us and that they wish us harm? And they're like right across the street, well, across a little small strait in the Caribbean, but still, they're like right next door. They're right here, right on our shores. So the socialists in our nation that are saying, oh, well, Cuba's not bad, it's America that's bad, and it's all our fault, don't speak about any of the atrocities in Cuba. They don't speak about the people being round up in Cuba. They don't speak about how they're being tortured in Cuba. So if Cuba is torturing and rounding people up for marching in the street to demand more freedoms and liberties, it makes you wonder, what do these democratic socialists have planned for us here? We already see that they're trying to strip away our rights. They're giving us issues with voting. They're giving us issues with voter integrity. They don't want us to put in any voter integrity bills, even though since before Trump was president, the Democrats were complaining that there was a lack of voter integrity. They don't want to put in any election protections whenever any state, especially a red state, tries to put some voter integrity or voter protections in as far as the actual elections and oversight goes. They flip their lid. They're like, oh my God, it's racist. Or like the president said the other day, he said, it's the same as the Civil War all over again. It's the Civil War all over again, dude. Like, really? Like what on earth are you talking about? And speaking of the Civil War, right? So the Confederacy was the enemy of the Union during the Civil War. So right now we've seen a lot of people who consider themselves to be conservatives. And if you consider yourself to be a conservative and you love me, if you decide that you don't like me anymore after this, I still love you anyway, but there are some things that I'm not able to pump with you on. So we've seen over the past couple of years, a lot of the Confederate flag, the Confederate battle flag, okay, going up all over the place. This right here, this flag, if you can see it, that's the Confederate battle flag. That's not the Confederate flag. That is not the stars and bars. That is not the stainless banner, okay? That is the Confederate battle flag. And you're displaying this very proudly. Here's the issue when it comes to that. That's a battle flag, y'all. Like, I hear you say that it's about your heritage and it's about history and it's about all of this. Okay, but it is a battle flag. That is not even the flag of the nation, however you decide to call it, nation, not a nation, whatever, separatist movement, whatever. But that is the battle flag. So are you openly declaring war against my nation? Like, are you declaring war against our republic? Is that what is being said? That's not okay to fly that flag. Like, what is going on here? The stars and bars. Can you pull out the other one, the full circle one? That one, the one with the circle on it. Yeah, that one. Okay, so if you can see the one.
Sorry, I didn't have time to pull it up.
It's fine. If you can see the one with the circle on there, and the stars, that's the stars and bars. That's the first Confederate flag right there. Flag of the Confederacy, whatever. Okay, so that right there would be a flag that you wave and you say, okay, this is a flag of my history, my heritage, whatever, whatever. Okay, boom. Okay, I hear you. While I disagree on so many reasons with you, but at least that's not a battle flag. That is not the battle flag. Even waving that still kind of shows that you are anti-American and against what we stand for. But that flag right there, the one with the circle on it, is not the battle flag. You're out here waving the battle flag. So then we get if you see the flag with the part of the battle flag there and the full white, that flag right there is the second flag of the Confederacy. So the issue with that flag was a lot of people were upset about it because it kind of could be misconstrued for the flag of surrender, which is all white if the wind's not blowing. So they came up with the third flag, right? Scroll up a little bit. That flag right there. So we've got that, and we've got the other one, and we've got the other one. So we've got three flags right there that are not the battle flag, which are flags that you don't actually see being flown. Not that I'd be okay with any of them being flown, let's be honest right now. Okay, the Confederacy lost, and they did. And the Confederacy will not rise again. The whole idea behind the nation of the Confederacy was that they believed that Black people and white people were not equal and that white people were superior to Blacks. Okay, that's a whole conversation for probably a whole different podcast. So we're not going to go into that too terribly much, but I just say this, right? If white people were so much better than Black people, why would you have them working in the fields instead of white people? If the white people were so much better, I'd think that you would have them working in the field as well. Or is it that Blacks were just stronger and had the ability to resist more heat and had more muscles and things like that, so they were more, better suited for that particular task and job? When things come up like that, when you're trying to say that one is better than the other, that's stupid. Okay, all men are created equal. That's where we are. That's what the Constitution says. And even if you want to fight it and say, well, this wasn't that or that wasn't this, it's wrong. It's wrong. And I respect that you believe that flying the Confederate battle flag is okay, but it's not. It's not, especially if you're a conservative. And it's not because you're supposed to believe in America more than anybody else is supposed to believe in America. And that's not patriotic because they tried to pull away from the Union. They tried to break up our republic. And that's a big okay, I see. You lost it for a second. We're back. I hope you can hear us now. So that's a big issue. Now, talking about the Confederacy and the battle flags, we've also seen a lot of Nazi flags popping up lately and over the last couple of years, all over the place. The other day, I live in New York State, by the way, and in New York State, I live in Monroe County. In Monroe County, we've got this nice little burg. It's called Fairport. All right, really nice place. I love it. Nice, calm, quiet, relaxing. A lot of chill people out there. I like to day trip out there. I live in this city, but I do day trip out there. And over the weekend, there were some Nazis out there who were out there to get ice cream. Yeah, this is a picture of one of their bikes out there. So I think that it's kind of funny, that Nazis think that it's okay to just showcase their memorabilia and their stuff all out in public. But let's see. We've got some comments here. White people did have their time in the fields, and they actually did pick cotton too. Yeah. That is a true statement in many aspects of it. I think that we could definitely go into further conversations about that at a later time. That's true. So back to the Nazis. So Nazis and Nazi Germany were another group of people who wanted to divide our union and wanted to basically shut down our nation in the way that we do things because they didn't really believe in freedom and liberties for everyone. And that's a serious issue. when you believe that people are unequal because of the color of their skin, because of their race, creed, or religion, then that's anti-American sentiment. Now, talking about these particular Nazis, first of all, nobody is hard when they're eating ice cream. You just can't look tough. And I think that that's kind of funny. But, okay, let's be serious. Let's be on a serious note right now. Okay. The Nazi regime in Germany, they did a lot of terrible, horrible stuff. Okay. But they did actually assist in adding a lot of advancement to humanity because they honestly were like, fuck regulations, fuck people, and fuck anybody that gives a fuck about anything. We're going to do what we're going to do because we feel like this is what we want to do. Now, because they just did not care about anything, they did make a considerable amount of headway in technology and medicine, which we still use today. And thank everybody for all of their great sacrifices and all of the people that were hurt and harmed under the Nazi regime to bring us those great advancements. Because, I mean, the level of suffering that happened under the Nazi regime, both in Europe and Germany and Northern Africa, because people always forget about talking about the atrocities that the Germans committed in Northern Africa. I guess maybe because they don't talk about the black people and the issues that the Nazis had with black people. I don't understand. Anyway, so we get a whole bunch of good science from them, medical science, aeronautic science, and things like that. And we even got Volkswagen. Oh my goodness. Volkswagen, man. Volkswagen is really kind of awesome, but that was Hitler's thing to get everybody a car. Okay, he said, I want to make a people's car, something that everybody can drive and anything like that. Now, this was a very interesting concept because most people couldn't afford cars, and they also provided some infrastructure to help make it more feasible, even though a lot of the stuff wasn't able to get done before the end of the war. This is a separate conversation. But with advancements in different types of technology, a lot of scientists came over to America afterward because they were fleeing the repercussions of them. Many people changed their name, some didn't. And we got some great technology from them for NASA. Can we pull up Van Braun? Okay, so we've got this one guy here, and he's basically the father of NASA. So Werner von Braun, I hope I'm saying his name right, but
sorry, I didn't get that picture up.
Oh, you didn't get that picture?
No,
no, it's okay. It's okay. So we don't have a picture of him, but you can look him up. He's basically the father of NASA, and he got a whole bunch of different types of missile technology brought over to the US. And he even had plans for colonizing Mars. Okay, so we're talking about all the way in World War II, they had plans for colonizing Mars, and we're still not even there yet. Yep, we're still not there yet, even though this guy gave us all types of missile technology that aided us in our National Aeronautics and Space program. So
there you go. I got his picture up.
Oh, you got his picture up? Okay.
I got his picture up.
This dude. So it's honestly kind of amazing. And I think that all of the advancements that we got have been amazing and very helpful to all of humanity. And it's just a testament to the sacrifice of everyone who was sacrificed for that. And it's sad that that had to happen for us to gain the advancements that we did. But I'd also like to point out, and this goes back to the Nazis in Fairport. So really, you're Nazis in this day and age? Have you not seen a lot of the people who go and do 23andMe? Okay. Or what's the other one? Ancestry? Like, most of you people are not even white enough to be Nazis. Like, they wouldn't let you be Nazis because you're just not white enough. And then you don't value the things that they did, like education and stuff like that. And like, you're just like not Nazi material. So why are you even, and then you're in America. Why don't you just leave? No offense, but if you're going to be that type of an individual, you're really not adding to the fabric of positivity and unity in our society. Because anybody that thinks that they can advocate for Nazism or that they can advocate for the Confederacy, that's a problem, because you're working on dividing our union. And we already have enough of those issues with the liberal leftists, okay, and their socialism that they're trying to push. And let's talk about this. Let's put some real serious things in perspective. So the Nazis were the National Socialist Working Party. Okay. Yeah, the Nazis were socialists. The Democratic Socialists like Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders and these people who advocate for socialism and communism all the time don't try to identify that. But they were. They'll tell you, oh no, that's not real socialism, but it kind of really was. The people that were in control and the people that were members of the Nazi party really did get a lot of good, positive things. But if you were not a member of the party, you got shit on. Same thing in Cuba. If you're not a member of the party, you get shit on and you get nothing. It's like the people in the party get cake and everybody else gets to eat the scraps out of the garbage if they can find garbage to eat scraps out of. And that's very sad. We have in Cuba, where the people in Cuba had all of their weapons taken after the Cuban Revolution. Isn't that interesting? Does that sound familiar? I believe that they're actually working on that here. And that's more than a belief. That's an actual fact. And if you live in New York State or if you live in California, I'm sure that you've seen it over the past years. In New York State, we've had the SAFE Act passed. In New York State, we've had the limitation of capacity of bullets. We've had you can only top load rifles. It's insane. It's insane over here. You know, you've got limited type of firearms that you can own, and they're continuing to restrict it more and more. We also see very interesting things like how the Nazis took away everybody's guns before they started to implement what they had going on over there, because they know that if you are defenseless, they can go and they can do whatever they want to you. And that's where we're going with this whole emergency, nationwide, everything, and the terror and fear that they continue to sow every day. Okay. You see things like, so let's talk about rights for a second. Let's talk about Texas. And Texas is a great state. Okay. They're very, very hardcore on the Constitution. I love Texas, even though I'm a New Yorker. Okay. New York and Texas doesn't always pump, but I really appreciate Texas and everything that they do. It's very important. Let's check out some comments here. What do we got here? Oh, scroll down. Let's see. Some assholes just need attention and acceptance, hence needing to be in a biker group, and they probably got beat up in high school. It really is issues with people having some sort of a need to feel as if they're part of a group. So you get a lot of people moving towards extremist fringe elements in society because they want to feel like they're a part of something, which is definitely something that we're going to cover in future episodes. But back to Texas. All right. Texas, state of the free, home of the Texas Rangers. I wonder, is Walker Texas Rangers still down there? All right. They canceled that show. Don't judge me, okay? That was one of my favorite shows growing up, even in reruns.
Dude, I straight up had a dog named Walker. I love Walker Texas Ranger.
Oh, man, yo. Listen, you know Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down, right?
Oh, yeah. You know, behind his beard, there isn't a chin. There's just another fist.
Oh, man. So Chuck Norris for president. No, I'm joking. But anyway. So in Texas right now, they're working on passing voter integrity and election security law. A law that would actually expand the time that you get to vote and expand the equal accessibility, I should say, of voting. So we have a part of that actually incorporates voter ID. Now, almost everybody in America that's a legal citizen, and even some illegal non-citizens, have actual IDs. Do you know that in New York State, where I live, illegal immigrants can get IDs? How is that even possible? They should be locked up. No offense, 100% accurate information, though. They're here illegally. They should not be able to be here illegally. They should be deported. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you feel on the matter. That is a fact because so many people try to immigrate to America in a legal way that they get put on the back burner when people come here illegally. So, but nobody wants to talk about that. Now, we're going to come back to that issue. But going back to Texas. So the Texas State House tried to put this bill up for a vote, which they would win, but it's mostly pushed by Republicans because the Republicans are the more conservative members of the group. Now, Texas is a very strong conservative state. They believe in the amendments in the Constitution, and they value them very, very seriously. And they're now a Second Amendment constitutional carry law in Texas, which is amazing. Okay. So if you're of age, you can own a firearm and you don't need a permit for it. Fantastic. That should be the way that every state should be. Okay. Because when there is more legal firearm ownership, the crime, especially gun crime, goes down very much. And that is a fact. So let's talk about this voting bill, which is an awesome bill because it gives you more time to vote than you get in New York State. Now, that's amazing. So the bill in Texas gives you more time to vote than we get in New York State. So what do the Democratic representatives that are in Texas say about this bill? They say, oh my God, it's terrible. It's racist. It's anti-black. It's anti-this. It's anti-that. It's anti-civil rights. Oh my God, everybody's going to be in so much harm. Okay, pause. First of all, are you telling me that black people are not able to get voter ID? Okay, these are the questions that I have. The other day, Kamala Harris got on the TV and she said that rural people aren't able to make photocopies of their ID because they don't have photocopiers in the middle of rural areas and they can't get to FedEx Kinko's. I don't know who's going to FedEx Kinko's to make copies like that anymore, but somebody is, I'm sure. And that's just a crazy thing. Who is going to FedEx Kinko's? I don't know. Somebody shops there, I'm sure. So do you have something for that? It's crazy madness. So I guess there are no people in rural areas that have libraries. Don't most libraries have copiers and fax machines and stuff like that? Is Austin, would you think that that's pretty much accurate?
No, they can't access anything. They don't know how.
Oh my goodness. So it's crazy. I saw and we don't have this picture, but I wish I did. I saw a tweet with that this guy sent out, and it was a picture of what was it? What was that movie? The Cowboys in Philadelphia, right? Did you see the trailer for that movie, The Black Cowboys? I think it was in Philadelphia.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So they had that picture up there. They said that this is me and my son riding in from our rural backwoods town to try to make copies. I said, oh my God, you guys are terrible. Nice. So these Democrats in Texas ran away from their jobs. They basically abdicated their jobs because they didn't want to vote on this thing, which they knew would end up passing. So they said, fuck this, fuck Texas, and fuck everybody else because we don't want this to happen because it would hurt our chances of getting reelected because, if people don't have voter ID, we can just let anybody vote that wants to. If we don't need ID verification for mail-in ballots, then anybody that wants to can vote. Okay, let me tell you what. Since I was little, since the first time that I voted, I always brought my ID with me. I didn't know. I just kind of thought that you needed your ID to vote. I just thought that was a thing, like most Americans say, oh, well, you need that. So they ran away. The Democrats ran away from the Texas Legislative House and they went to Washington, D.C. So they took private chartered buses and they took private chartered planes. Do we have a picture of them, Austin, on the plane? So
No, give me a minute.
Okay. So it's very interesting that they decided to actually go on a plane, and they decided that they were going to be some sort of a hero to whom nobody knows, because they're running away from their jobs and responsibilities. Now, in response to that, Governor Abbott from Texas, he's the governor out there. Also, Alan West is running for governor in Texas. Okay, so I support Alan West. This is just my personal opinion. I like Abbott. Okay, he said a lot of good things, and he's done a couple of good things, but I'd like to see Alan West out there. But anyway, so Governor Abbott said, you know what, man, it's illegal for them to run away like that. So what we're going to do is when they come back, we're going to arrest them, and we're going to force them to come into the legislative session so that we can actually enforce this bill. So is this a picture? Do we have a picture now?
Is this the picture?
This is a picture.
Okay.
This is a picture.
I'm going to pull it up for him.
Okay. I wish we had the other picture where it said anyway. So we've got these bunch of Democrats from Texas that have decided to leave their homes and all of their possessions because they are the champions of virtue and the champions of the people in America, allegedly. Is that how we say those things now? Allegedly? I think that's how we say them. So allegedly, they are representing everybody in this new fight for freedom, because they believe very much in voter rights and that people don't need voter ID to actually prove who they are to go out and vote. And anybody that ever wants to vote should be able to vote. Now, if that's not insane, it gets better. It gets way or worse, depending on how you feel and what you think. So, boom. So they fly out on a plane. They go on a chartered bus. No masks in sight. Now, these are the same Democrats that say, oh, man, everybody should be masked up all the time. Everybody. So if everybody should be masked up on a plane, but you're not masked up on a plane, what's up? What's up, you guys? Why aren't you masked up? Not that I believe in masking at all. That's a whole nother conversation. Like, I wish I could show you guys some of the pictures from the boxes that they have. Like, first of all of the masks are made in China. Stop stealing my story, Annie. It's crazy. So all of the masks are made in China. That's number one. On the boxes of the masks and on many of the masks themselves, they say, these don't actually protect from viruses. It's only really to protect from bodily fluid splatter. Okay. So the masks don't work. And we know that. And Fauci knows that. And it said so in Fauci's emails. Okay. So the great grand Dr. Fauci. But this episode is not about him. So going back to these Democrats, guess what happened to them when they got there? So they got there and they took meetings with everybody. They even did big press conferences with Schumer and, oh my goodness, Nancy Pelosi. Oh boy. Can we say her name? She's not going to pop out, right? If you say I heard
only if you say it 3 times.
Okay, I won't say it 3 times. Okay. So they took I can't it's just the story is just so ridiculous. Like, it's hard to even tell. So boom. So they go there, they visit with Chuck and they visit with Nancy, and they're out on the TV and they're saying all of these things and how what's going on in Texas is terrible. It's stealing people's freedoms and that they're the new freedom fighters of the new age. So the question is if they're doing all of this, what the hell do they want, right? Well, after a couple of little episodes of what they've got going on up there, they're like, oh, what we really came here to do is to actually push for the Senate, to push for the voting bill that the Democrats are trying to use to take out of the state legislature, to take voting rights out of the hands of the state legislatures and put it in the hands of the federal government. Because apparently the federal government does things well. I mean, I don't know the federal government of the United States of America as much as I love the United States of America to do too much of anything well except fuck its citizens. No offense. Total accuracy. I love America, but I'm not a crazy person. I know that America, that the federal government fucks us every single chance that they get because it's mostly about power and control. And when you remember that it's mostly about power and control, you can see things for what they really are. So these guys, these Democrats from Texas, go to Washington, D.C., and they want you to push for getting rid of the filibuster so that they can pass their voter bill that steals the liberties and the freedoms of the states so that it goes into federal hands. Now, here's the funny thing. They want to stop the filibuster so the votes can proceed on a one-sided majority, or not even majority, on a one-side split decision with Harris being the tie-breaking vote. Okay. Now, did I say that they also took a meeting with President Harris and they made a big to-do all over the news about that? Okay. And they were talking about, oh my God, we're so hurt. We have to have all of these measures where we're not even able to wash our clothes. We have to wash them in the sink. First of all, do you know how many Americans wash their clothes in the sink or in the tub? Y'all being disrespectful right now. We're not even going to talk about it. Okay, that's mad disrespectful. Oh my God, your hardship. Do you know how many Americans have to do that? Y'all are insulting. It's just frustrating. So anyway, so they took the meeting with Harris and they made a big to-do out of that. And they want them to get rid of the filibuster. But they left Texas, which basically made it so the people in Texas could not pass the laws that they needed to do. So that's kind of like the filibuster right there. If the filibuster is supposed to delay a vote, you left your state to delay a vote. Okay. You're asking them to stop the ability to delay a vote, but you ran away to delay a vote. I mean, am I like, does 1 + 1 still equal 2 in this world? Because I'm trying to like put it together and it goes like, it's not matching up. The level of hypocrisy is insane. And you want to know what's more insane? Get this. So now 5 of those Democrats that escaped from Texas have now tested positive. No, not for STDs, silly. They tested positive for COVID. They tested positive for COVID. Can you believe that? 5 of these Democrats that fled Texas so they didn't have to do their job have tested positive for coronavirus. Are we still doing that thing where you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days if you get exposed to coronavirus? Or is it 7 or 10 or 21 days now? Who even knows? Dr. Fauci, what's up? Okay. Can we ask why he's even in any type of position where he can even talk anymore? He needs to be taken out of office. I'm sorry, you guys, but I'm not sorry at all. He needs to be done. He done lied to us the whole time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look into Fauci's emails that have been released and how he was funding the lab in Wuhan and all types of other stuff. Do you know that he actually enabled them to do testing on fetal tissue where they would use the skin off of fetuses and graft it onto mice to see if the skin can be reanimated from a dead fetus? Yeah, Dr. Fauci did that. Oh my goodness, golly gosh. Like, I don't know what type of ethics you have to deal with there, but for me, it makes me start to ask questions like, well, the people that are pushing for abortion to be more accessible and more prominent as a way of contraception, which it's not a way of contraception. It is not a way. Abortion is not contraception, period. Okay. That's a whole separate conversation for another podcast, but they're out here pushing for that are the same people that are using the aborted fetal cells for experiments. Doesn't that kind of make you wonder? Is it a possibility that these people who are pushing for more access to abortion are just doing it not only to decrease population of certain parts of the nation and certain socio and economic backgrounds, but are also doing it so that they can use the tissue of the fetuses for other projects and experiments that they want to do. It's very concerning. Very, very concerning. But going back, I digress. I digress. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm not sorry because it needed to be said. But going back to these Texas people, since they tested positive for COVID, shouldn't Harris have to quarantine? Shouldn't Nancy and Chuck Schumer have to quarantine? Oh, wait. I didn't even give you the best information yet. Do you know that the 5 people that tested positive for coronavirus are actually vaccinated? Oh my goodness. Yes, the 5 people, the 5 Democrats that tested positive for COVID actually are vaccinated. Now, they told us that all of them on the plane, everybody that came up is already vaccinated. Who knows if it's a truth or a lie? But the 5 of them that have tested positive have vaccinations. Now, we're supposed to believe that the vaccinations all work and they're so awesome and stuff like that, which is fine and fair. I support your right to take it or not take it, but they need to stop selling it sideways. Let's be honest. It's not really a vaccine. It's a palliative care treatment preemptive measure, okay? If you do get COVID, it says, you're less likely in the possibility that if you possibly have adverse or serious reactions that might require you to be hospitalized, then you may be less likely to be hospitalized if you were to experience those possible adverse reactions. For me, that's a miss right there, because you're saying that if I fall into the small section of people who actually have to be hospitalized for this, then I have a less chance of being hospitalized, but I already have an extremely low chance of being hospitalized to begin with. And you also have a low chance of catching it to begin with. I'm just trying to put the things together here, and they don't go, I don't know. It just seems a little bit crazy to me, the whole thing. Now we've got monkeypox in Texas, but we're not going to talk about that. Okay, look it up. It's a thing. Anyway, so back, let me bring this whole thing full circle, and let's talk about liberties and freedoms and how people all across the world right now are working to stand up. So in Hong Kong, when they were pushing for their freedoms and liberties, they were waving the American flag. In Cuba, them pushing for their freedoms, they're waving the American flag. The American flag is not saying that they're pro-US or that they want the US to step in and take over their nation. It's saying that they believe in the values of freedom and liberty, because that's what America's about, freedom and liberty. And hopefully we have justice for all, but we've got a lot of issues with our justice system in America. Now, when we talk about freedom and we talk about liberty, let me get on a real serious note real quick. Our freedoms and liberties are ingrained in the Constitution. As they continue to strip away our rights, liberties, and freedoms from the Constitution under the guise of medical health and stuff like that, we must be very wary. In New York State, we have a bill. It's called A416. Is it 416, Austin? A4, I believe it is A416. And this bill, yep, A416. There we go. It relates to the I'm going to read it right off here for you. It relates to the removal of cases and contacts and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to public health. And I implore you, no matter where you are, to go take a look at this bill. Now, the crazy thing about this bill is it's been presented in session since, I believe, 2015, and every year it gets a little farther. Now, after all of this, they're trying to take it and they're trying to move it even further. Let's talk about in New York State how they've made it so gun crimes and gun violence is considered to be a public health issue. So the way that the law is written is very ambiguous. It says that the governor or anybody that he appoints can just basically say, you know what, we think that this person may have come in contact with somebody who may be a danger or a possible threat to public health, and that they can snatch you or your children or whoever out of your house, and that you can basically be detained indefinitely. Okay. they've got, I think it's like a 2-week window where you can file a petition or whatever, if they even let you do that, because you know you got a communicable disease, or you might be a threat to public health, or you might just not be anybody that they want to interact with because you know you're a threat to public health. So it's maddening. You got to read the bill. It's Assembly Bill A416. And basically it says that they can snatch you up out of your house if they so deem that you may be a threat to public health in any way. So maybe if you're exposed to somebody who could possibly have a firearm, that you may now possibly be a public health risk. I mean, Austin, how does that sound? Does that sound like nice fun, or does that sound like it should be a concern to pretty much all of the populace?
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
It is extremely, extremely scary. So I just want you guys to be aware of this bill. And this isn't the only crazy bill that they've got going on. So this goes to them stripping away your freedoms and liberties. Remember all of these states of emergencies that they've called over the past year? You can't go out, you can't go to church, hampering religious freedom completely. They don't want you to join up with anybody, because if you transfer ideas, ideas might be dangerous. And if you come out your house and you talk to somebody else that thinks that what's going on is crazy, then, hey, now you might be a threat. So look at California, for instance. They just reinstated a mask mandate. First of all, the mask mandates are illegal, people. Okay, they are illegal. It's a violation of so many different statutes, not just in the Constitution, but of other laws and stuff like that. That we're not going to get into it, though. But when it comes to things like this, we have to be paying attention to the states which are mostly applying them. New York State shut down everything. California shut down everything. Okay, New York State had a mask mandate. California had a mask mandate. Okay, but they have the largest amounts of deaths in the country. Why is that? There are states that haven't shut down at all, and they don't even remotely have the same percentages, not actual total numbers, but the same percentages of deaths. So how could possibly what New York and California have been doing actually been working? That's my question. I feel like that's a good question. If they've got more deaths, then clearly what they're doing is not working. California, I'm not even going to talk about California. Let's hit up Texas and Florida. Texas and Florida fully opened, and they were like, oh my God, you're terrible people. You're going to die and you're going to kill us all. Destroy us all. Destroy us all. Destroy us all. Come off it, you guys. Like, they opened up, and they still have extremely low actual testing rates for positivity, and they have way less hospitalizations, and they have way less deaths. But what happened a couple of weeks ago is that in places like New York State and with the CDC in California, they said, you know what? We're going to stop listing the number of positive tests. We're only going to list the number of people that have tested positive and have been hospitalized. Wait a second. What the hell does that even mean? So does that mean that the numbers right now that we're seeing are actually different positive ratios than what are being had? But why would they do that? I don't know. It just seems very, very odd. And to say one thing about this, everything with our rights and everything, it's very, very interesting that during this pandemic, so many rights, liberties have been infringed upon. And somehow, during this period of time, we have witnessed the largest transference of wealth and power in the history of wealth and power. I mean, you guys really have to pay attention. Do we have that graphic? Because we're all in this together. That's what they keep telling us.
Sorry, no, I don't.
You don't have it? It's okay. So we're all in this together, except Facebook is censoring things where we're supposed to not talk about different issues that they deem irresponsible, or that might change the narrative about what's going on. As you saw the other day, if you didn't see it, this is concerning extremely. The president, Joe Biden, got on the television. He said, yeah, man, we're working with Facebook to tell you that if you're saying something that we don't like, we're going to shut you down. On top of that, Not only are we shutting down people that we think aren't doing what we want them to do or saying what we want them to say, we're going to now have people come knock on your doors to make you want to get vaccinated. Oh my goodness. Do we have a picture of anything like that? So we've got these people that the government wants to send to your house and knock on your door to convince you, the American citizen, to get vaccinated. Well, we know right now that the vaccines have been widely available for some time now. And almost everybody that's wanted a vaccine could get a vaccine. So right now, we're really down to the point where people that are not wanting the vaccine are the only people that are left, which is kind of crazy. We've got multiple questions on how can they know that you're not vaccinated, or how would they know the areas that are not heavily vaccinated? Does the federal government have a record of your medical history? Dun, 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 dun. Can they see this picture, Austin, or are we working on it?
Yeah, I just put it up.
Oh, you just put it up? Okay. So what we've had is the federal government and state governments and private businesses offering all types of incentives for you to get vaccinated. And now they're telling us that that hasn't been good enough, that they're going to come to your door, come to your house, and knock on your door and say, hey, man, you need to get vaccinated because that is your civic duty. Bullshit. Don't come to my house with that nonsense. Okay. If people don't want to be vaccinated, they should not be forced to be vaccinated. And they said on the TV, Joe Biden said this. He said, now we have a pandemic of unvaccinated people. A pandemic of unvaccinated people? That's not even a thing. Stop trying to change the meaning of words. I'm sick and tired of them trying to change the meaning of words in this nation. People need to pay attention, okay? Because what they're doing right now, go read the book 1984 by George Orwell. Okay. What they're doing right now is changing the meanings of words so that they can mess with your mind, so that you can think something different than what it is, to make things seem more serious that aren't, and things that are less serious to seem more serious, and more serious to seem less serious. It's very, very tactful, and they know what they're doing. We are in a repressive regime right now, and it's getting more and more serious every day. We need to push for the freedom of the people in Cuba. The American government needs to work to restore actual internet over there so that they can get their voice out. We need to work to do anything that we can to assist with logistical support outside of giving them the internet and stuff like that. And we just need to voice our moral support for them. Because if we don't speak up for the rights and liberties of them, nobody's going to help us speak up for the rights and liberties that are being taken away over here. And it continues to happen every single day. We need to wake up, people. We need to pay attention. We need to stand up, and we need to speak up for our rights, our liberties, our freedom, and our constitutional rights. Okay? Because once they're gone, it's going to be so hard to get them back if we even can. And I just really, really, really want you guys to know that I care about your rights. I care about your liberties. I care about our nation. And I hope that you do too. So keep following me for more awesomeness. This is Marcus C. Williams. Marcus, Made in America. You guys be blessed. Be well. Catch us next week on the We the People Podcast Network at 6 o'clock. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you later. Be blessed and be well.